Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today let's talk about all of the books I have read recently. Jordan and Graham are playing upstairs, so I'm not sure if the audio is going to be picking them up. If it does, I am so sorry. You get to hear them playing upstairs. But I haven't done a wrap up since, I'm trying to think. I did one for July and August, and so this is going to be September, October, and then I think one book that I recently read here in November, because I need to talk about it. I need to put this on everyone's radar before 2025 because it was a 6-star read for me. Let's begin. I've got to look at my little note. Of course, I didn't have it open. There we go. What did I just say? September. Okay. Great. I have the stack of books right here off camera, and I'm just flipping it upside down because I pulled them off in the order I read them. First up, in September, I did have a 5-star read, was A Feather So Black. This book was so magical, transportive, I don't even know, all the fun fairy tale magic words that I could use to describe this. If you like the Cruel Prince kind of fae, I know I say this all the time, but like what I would call like the original fae, like tricky, can't lie, deceptive, those kinds of fae, you would, I think, enjoy the world that this is set in. So the plot of this book is a while ago, the fae and the humans were in this war battle thing, whatever you want to call it, and the fae end up stealing 12 human girls, one of which is the princess. And with the princess, they put a changeling. They put a fae human being, I guess, with them. And so the queen raises this changeling in place of the princess daughter. And then one day, her seer finds out the 12 human girls are in the fae realm, and they are swans by day, and then at night they turn back into humans. And the seer's like, you, changeling princess, can save us all. And so, of course, she has to go off on this journey to save the human girls with none other than her childhood crush. So much unexpected things, and I would think, okay, obviously this is going to be what's happened, and it wouldn't. So I really have a lot of respect for that kind of writing. It was really great. I loved this. Absolutely a book I want to be recommending to everyone. Now, a God tier series for me, this book I gave 4 stars. Fate Calls the Elf Queen. I love this series. I can hear Graham yelling. I wonder if he has this like push lawnmower, and he pushes it and he goes wee, and he just runs right back and forth because I'm on the basement level. He's up one. So if we can hear them, I'm so sorry, but he's just a little boy living his best life. But so Fate Calls the Elf Queen. The end of this, absolutely insane. It felt like, like when you're reading a Sarah J. Maas book and like the last like 200 pages are like, you like cannot put it down. That's what this was like, but the middle was a little slow for me. Only a little, but that's why it's 4 and not 5 stars. The series is a top tier series for me, and I want so many people to read it, and they're all on Kindle Unlimited. And also something I have so much respect for James Curl, this author, for doing is at the start of each book, I can do it. I can get there. There is a recap for previous books. So like there's like a book 1 recap, and then book 2, this is book 3. I can't remember if she said it's going to be 4 books only. Sorry, there was something in my eye. It's either going to be 4 or 5 books, but this series, again, did something that I absolutely was not expecting. I feel like it's been hard for like a romantasy series to catch me off guard like this did since ACOTAR. Like, it's kind of like how once you know that fated mates are a thing in fantasy books, you can immediately tell that someone's a fated mate in future fantasy books. And like this series truly took me for a loop. I love these books. The end of this book was worth like 8 stars. It was just the fact that the middle was just a little slow. 4 stars. Maybe 4.5. So good. I know I didn't really tell you what that book's about because it's the 3rd in a series, but just know that they're really good. I also then read a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I love her writing style. It is just so fabulous to me. But this one, I think I liked this one more than I liked The Dead Romantics personally, but it still was not as good as The 7-Year Slip. It's like a god tier read for me. But I gave it 4 stars. The only thing, I think originally I was reading this in a reading vlog, and I just think I scrapped the reading vlog, so you haven't seen my thoughts on this. But my biggest problem is the fact that, like, right off the rip, she meets this guy and just hates him for no reason and, like, makes these comments to herself, like, wow, I hate him. Don't know why. He's just so, like, hateable. And I did not, if that was ever explained, I missed that part, and it drives me nuts. That was my biggest beef with this whole series, or whole book. In this book, our main character is going on like a book club retreat that they go on every year, but no one else can make it, so it's just her. And she swerves to avoid hitting a guy in the middle of the road and ends up being in her favorite book series, Small Town, which, like, to me sounds so fun. But it's so crazy. Like, she sees all the characters, the, like, locations, and, like, she's interacting with this one guy who's the bookstore owner, which is so fun. That is the plot of this book. And she's, like, working through, you know, inner stuff too. Really fun. I think it definitely kind of gives, I wouldn't say it gives any sort of seasonal vibe. A lot of people were saying they wish they read it in fall, which is why I read it in September. I wouldn't say it gave me like autumnal vibes. It's cozy, but I just feel like that's how Ashley Poston like writes. I feel like all of her books are just cozy. Oh my gosh. So many 5-star reads in September. I did not wait. Yes. Okay. Literally such a good month. Then I read Daydream by Hannah Grace, the 3rd book in the Icebreaker interconnected standalone hockey romances. And this one is probably my favorite one, but I absolutely just loved the main characters in this one. I don't know. They're all so good to me, but I give this 5 stars. I loved it. The colors on this cover are doing something to my brain. Like, they are just so pleasing to look at. I love this cover so much. But she wants to be an author. He's struggling in school and he's the hockey captain. He's like, I don't really know if I want to be hockey captain. They end up helping each other. Oh my gosh. I just love this so much. These are so fun. These are like crack to me. I know other people like don't necessarily love those, but I love that series so much. And then I was feeling a little slumpy, and so I decided I would pick up a Frida McFadden thriller, and I decided to read Never Lie. Wow. Okay. So many things. Again, I love a thriller where I think I know what's happening, and then what is happening isn't what I thought was happening, but it also makes sense. And that was this one. This girl and her husband, I think they're married. I don't think they're engaged. I think they're married. Go to like look at this house. And they end up getting snowed in to this house, and it's where this famous psychiatrist, I think, therapist, whatever, was murdered, disappeared from. I can't remember, but she's gone. The psychiatrist, like, it was her home. She's disappeared. The female main character keeps, like, hearing sounds and seeing things, and you're just following them being stuck in this house for what I think is not very long, but to me felt like several days while reading the book. And you're also getting a past perspective from the therapist's recordings of her appointments with her clients. Whole thing was crazy. I absolutely love this. 5 stars. Love a good thriller when it's good. Y'all, so many 5-star reads. I'm sorry. I'm not normally this 5-star handed, but I guess I have some good recs for you guys. I then, moving into October, read House of Roots and Ruin, which is the 2nd book, and House of Salt and Sorrows is the 1st one. This is the 2nd one. This follows one of the sisters, Verity, who doesn't know it, but she can see ghosts. And her family just chose to not tell her this. And so she decides to go off into the world, and she's like a portrait painter, and she goes to this estate that's like known for all of their like plants and botany and agricultural things. So much unravels and happens, and she's confused, and she sees ghosts, and the atmosphere is very gothic. I love a gothic fantasy in the fall and winter. Like, gothic to me is inherently cold month coded, and I loved this. Do not let the cover make you think that it's going to be springy. This to me is perfect to read November in any of the Burr months. January, like, don't put this off because you think, oh, it looks springy. It's very gothic. So amazing though. Absolutely. It was hard for me to decide if I liked this one more or if I liked House of Salt and Sorrows more. I think I like House of Salt and Sorrows more. It's on my like god tier list, but this was still just so good. If you have not read those, they are House of Salt and Sorrows, I think I read for a November book club when I read it for the first time. And it truly, the gothic, that is what put me onto gothic fantasy in general. And I love this. And there's clearly going to be a 3rd book, and I am so excited. I also, in October, read my first graphic novel. I read Garlic and the Vampire, which the art in this is honestly, let me find a page that's really cute. Like, they're little garden vegetables, and they work at a farmer's market with this witch. I literally think I read this in 30 minutes. I've never read a graphic novel as an adult, and it was fun, fall, cute, whatever. I definitely would recommend it if you like graphic novels and you haven't read them, or if you're like, oh, I want to know if I like a graphic novel. That's a good way to know, but it was fun. Garlic, obviously, they send to go confront this vampire that they think has moved in town, and that is all you really need to know. And now we begin a slow decline in ratings. Just for a moment, then we come back up. Then I read Restless Slumber, which is the sequel to Fortuna Sworn. And I wasn't obsessed with Fortuna Sworn, but I did really like it. I have a hard time with urban fantasy, which is, if you didn't know, like when it's set in like basically present day, but there's magic. So like, it'd be like if ACOTAR had cell phones. That is the best depiction of like urban fantasy I feel like I can give you. Like, this girly pop could be sitting right here next to me, but she is absolutely terrifying. Like, the only urban fantasy I think I like a lot is the Zodiac Academy. And I think it's because it doesn't feel like an urban fantasy. It feels like an urban fantasy the same way Hogwarts, like Harry Potter does. Because, like, they go to this school that's in the Fey world instead of being here. Anyways, Fortuna is, like, the last creature of her kind. She's called a nightmare. And basically she touches someone and can see all their fears, and then basically can transport you into thinking that's happening to you. So like if you're scared of spiders, she like touches you and now you're covered in spiders. You see spiders everywhere, and like basically it ends up being a very solid tactic to scare people to death, essentially. It ended on a very interesting note, and I had not read the second one. I didn't pick it up for a long time, and I decided it was a good time to read it was now, because I feel like she's kind of inherently spooky. I did not like this at all. I gave it, well, that's hard to say, because my problem is I feel like the writing is the problem, and there is so much fluff. Like, the concept of this story and like the world it is in has the potential to be so amazing, and it's just, it just never got there for me, which is what was such a letdown. I gave this 2.5 stars. I will not be continuing the series, which bums me out. These covers, to me, the art is just so beautiful, but yeah, this fell flat for me, and I'm sad because I really loved the world. And I went into the second one knowing that I wasn't obsessed with the first one, but I thought like, I really want to see like where this world goes and like what happens and whatnot. And after that book, it just took forever. And I went and looked at Goodreads reviews, and basically the reviews seemed to get worse and worse for each book. And also like, I couldn't tell if it was a love triangle about to be like a love square. There were too many love interests, too many potentials. Then I read Phantasma, which I know was really popping off. I think it's because I am such a Caraval lover that this was just not for me. I also gave this 2.5 stars. There was a little, obviously they like go through like the circles of hell is like how this haunted carnival thing works. And the whole reason our main character goes in there is because she's trying to find her sister, who she thinks went in there, because she finds like newspaper clippings about it in her room, and their mom has just died. So now our main character can speak with ghosts, I think. And I will say I loved our main male interest, the male love interest. I loved him. He was my favorite character in the whole book. But like, I feel like stuff happened. It was like giving me whiplash, and I just did not care. Like, I was like, clearly this is this and this. And it just felt similar to how I felt about Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Nothing anymore is like truly original. This felt like just a darker version of Caraval. Like, I knew what was going to happen because I had read Caraval. That's that. I did not care for it. I would recommend you go read Caraval instead. Then I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I gave this 2 stars. Clearly, I was like on a high, and then we just... I know this said it took inspiration from Gilmore Girls, but I literally felt like I was in a Gilmore Girls episode. So I didn't love that. Felt a little too, again, copy-y. That's just a me problem, I think, but whatever. I normally don't have a problem with Insta-love, but like the Insta-love here was crazy. Like I was like, I'm pretty sure they kiss on page 8. I don't know. The cover is cute. I'll give you that. I liked a lot of the side characters. I don't normally, if I give something 2 stars, have any interest in reading another one, but I might try another one to see. Like, the instant love was the biggest issue I think I had with this. And that no one was taking the woman seriously. That just bothered me. As someone who's like deathly afraid of being like noises in the night and whatnot, this poor girl moved into this cafe and is thinking someone's breaking into her house. Yeah, I couldn't even really tell you what the plot of this was. She goes to take over her aunt's cafe, hears noises. The big tough farm boy who had his heart broken helps her. Something keeps happening. Stuff keeps happening to the cafe. It felt like watching a bad Hallmark movie. That's the best way to put it. I love Hallmark movies, but I know that they're, I don't know. I know that they are what they are. And I went into this expecting Hallmark movie, but I got a 1-star Hallmark movie. And I do rate Hallmark movies on a scale of 1 to 5 stars for Christmas time because I hate watching the literal awful ones. And that's what this was to me. This was just a bad Hallmark movie. So I'd be curious if one of the other ones is better. I don't know if that makes me willing to necessarily pick it up soon. That's my thoughts. Now we're back on the up and up. Then I read, you guys are going to be excited. I read Crimson Moth / Heartless Hunter, both titles, whatever. This I started once, really liked. I honestly don't remember why I put it down to begin with. I'm sorry, it's reflecting my light. I loved this. 5 stars. I have an advanced copy of the sequel, and I'm probably going to pick that up maybe this month, if not this month, probably in December. We're squealing upstairs now. This was so cool. She is a witch, and he is a witch hunter. Basically, they both are pretending to be interested in each other for their own reasons. She is trying to figure out where they're hiding these witches. He is trying to figure out if she is the person, the Crimson Moth, who's like setting witches free. And I will admit, I saw the twist in this book coming, but that didn't deter me because I thought it was a good twist. But I was like, oh no, I bet you it's this. Like, that's kind of crazy, but like, this is what I think it is. I was right. But I don't mind that. I didn't mind it in this one. If it's done well enough, like, I just kind of felt smart that I figured it out. You know what I mean? But I loved this. This is so good. Perfect. You know, they're in they're wearing dresses, like ball gowns, very Bridgerton vibe of their like Regency setting. So I did love that. I love a good Regency ball. But I loved this. 5 stars. Really excited to read the next one. Y'all are not ready for this. The last book I have to tell you about has made it on my God tier book list. I am obsessed. Could not put this down from page 1. If you take any recs from this video, this is the one to take. Riftborn. I read this on Kindle Unlimited. When I read it, I took a screenshot. Here you go. When I reviewed it, 450 people had read this book. Let's see how many people have read it right now. I read it like 2 weeks ago. I've only seen one other person I like on TikTok talk about it. Oh, it has 617 ratings right now. This was the definition of I could not put this book down. It's clearly indie published. There was like a few typos and spots where quotation marks should have been that weren't. If you can overlook those few things, this book was insane. I cannot tell you how badly I need someone to talk to about this book. So if you read it or if you have read it, please just message me on Instagram. I want to talk to somebody about this book so badly. Like, the amount of stuff that happened in that, crazy. And I think we don't get the second book until sometime in 2025. I don't think they've announced what's gonna happen. This was just a case of like, I don't know if there was anything that like inherently made this a gajillion stars. It was just like perfect book, perfect time for me. Just want other people to read it so freaking badly. We're following Fia Riftborn, and basically what you need to know is you also get thrown into the story immediately, which I love. Basically, there was this island off the coast of, I don't know, the continent, the island that we're on right now. And that was called, I think, Riftborn. And basically they were allies, I think, with the big island. Now, I can't remember. Basically what happens is the two islands go to war. Big main island wins. Little Riftborn, all the children that are orphaned, essentially, come to the mainland. Riftborn is destroyed. And they get branded and they take away their last name. So all of their last names are Riftborn. And Fia, our main character, has magic, but she does not understand what it is. And there's this big bad scary general, and he sees her use her, like, I can't think of what they call it. It's like mind melting, I think is what he calls it. He sees her do this, and basically he's like, yeah, you're coming with me. And then thus begins her training and whatnot, you know, to be a part of the guard who was essentially the people who like killed her family and everyone she's ever loved. So much happens. It was kind of giving like the Fourth Wing vibe of the school and the friends and all that stuff. Like very like, oh my gosh, what's the word? Found family. It's very like, they've got a very great found family in this story. The way the book ends, I want book 2 right now. I would sell something to have book 2 right now. I don't know what the boys are doing upstairs. But yeah, if you take one book rec away from this video, that is the book I want you to read. Go read it right now. On that very dramatic note, that is all the books I've read recently. Obviously, a lot of really good reads. God tier reads added to the list. What a way to start wrapping up the year. Obviously, also some not so great books, but let me know if you have read any of those that I also loved or any of your thoughts on books that I did not love. And I will just see you guys in the next one, hopefully soon. Bye.